Hey, grandparents and grandchildren, if you can do me a favor, if you're in a row and you see like 4 seats open in the middle, can you guys just kind of scooch in? We're going to have about 600 plus people in here this morning. So if you can scooch into the middles, open up the ends, that would be great. Hey, I think we did it. I'm going to start with some announcements, and when the bell rings, I'll just cut off where I'm at, and I will continue on right after chapel. So again, when chapel is over, somebody from the stage usually says, "You're dismissed." Just stay put. We'll let the sophomores, juniors, and seniors dismiss first, and then we'll go over things. So I just want to say officially welcome to Grandparents' Day. You guys were having a great time. Eating cookies and drinking coffee and visiting. Seems like you all know each other, but I know that's not the case. Some of you are from out of state and even out of country, so special welcome to all of you. We love Grandparents' Day. I have a growing love for Grandparents' Day because I am a grandparent. I have an 18-month-old granddaughter and a 2-week-old grandson, and your heart just gets bigger. Nobody told me this. But when you become a grandparent, your heart just gets bigger, and it stretches. And you thought, I love my kids. Well, there's another level of grandparent love that we have. The other thing we love about grandparents is you guys are just so relaxed. You're so wise. You're so calm. You've done life. You've worked. I know some of you probably still have jobs and stuff, but you just kind of come in like, it's good. God's good. Life's been good. And I think you value the gift of a day more as you get older. And so this is the day the Lord has made, and we're glad in it, and I know you come in with that spirit, and that's just a wonderful encouragement to us. So we just love having you here. We love this day. And Proverbs 13:20 is our verse, and our theme of the year is walk with the wise. Well, you've developed wisdom over time, and you're the wise. And God has given you a lot of life and a lot of wisdom, and your grandchildren get to walk with you today. And Proverbs 13:20 says, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise. The second half of the verse isn't so nice, but a companion of fools suffers harm. But today, you're the wise, your grandchildren get to walk with you. And they literally will walk with you. If you look at your agenda, and if you didn't pick one up, we'll get some more. They're on that table with the name tags. But if you just quickly look at the agenda, and again, I'll keep going until the bell rings. So we got the welcome, we got the coffee, you're in the night center. Freshmen are here. A couple people still strolling in. So at 10:30, what we're going to do is we're going to divide you guys up by your grandchild's last name. So if your grandchild's last name is A through L, you get to go to the gym, and there's seating for like 300 people in the gym. You just get to pick a table, and your grandchild and you get to talk. And the talking points are on the back of your agenda. The grandchildren have not seen this list of questions, and you're seeing it just a few seconds maybe ahead of them. But what we really hope that you enjoy today is that you have about a 25-minute heart-to-heart conversation with your grandchild. I have 2 grandchildren. Some of you might have 14, 15, 16 grandchildren. When do you get to just spend time with this one grandchild? So we really want these questions to drive your conversation, and I hope you're blessed by it. They're really good questions on here. I'm going to ask you as grandparents, ask me this one. I like this one. Can't do them all. don't have to stop at the top and go down to the bottom. Just pick the ones you like. One question that I remember reading is, tell me the day my dad was born. What was that day like? Tell me about my mom when she was a little girl. If you could go back to high school and do it all over again, what advice would you have for me? So it's just great, hopefully conversational questions that you'll enjoy. So you'll do that if your last name is A through L. If your grandchild's last name is M through Z, they're going to take you on a tour. They're going to take you around the new parts of Unity, the old parts. They're going to take you around the school and just let them just show you the place they get to go. And so that's 25 minutes of interviewing, 25 minutes of touring, and then we'll flip. Then we'll switch at 10:55, and I'll even just get on the intercom and I'll just make an announcement that it's time to end your tour or it's time to end your visit and go to the next thing. And then when that's over, you'll all gather back in the gym for lunch. And your grandchildren are really free to be with you till noon. At noon, the bell rings and they're supposed to go to class. We're not hawkish on 12. If you're still eating, for example, just enjoy a minute or two more, but just being mindful of getting them to class so they can become wise like you. So, okay, does that make sense? That's kind of the agenda, and that's kind of the questions. We hope you really walk away grateful for your grandchild and just excited to be here, and I know they're excited to see you. And so that actually is all I have for announcements. Freshman chapel as well. So some of you maybe aren't sitting with your grandchild because they're on stage. Oh, one last thing. Valet parking. You guys, some of you are so excited to get here that you didn't stay for your keys. So this keychain says Bob Brown, Urbandale, Ankeny. It's black rubber keychain. Bob Brown keychain. Key fob. Anyone? Okay, if you're like, I don't want to admit that that's me. Oh, we got him. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Again, I'm Wayne Dykstra, head of school here. Love to chat with you throughout the morning, but I hope you have a great day.
You can say you're dismissed.
Hello. Welcome to chapel. Please stand and sing if you're able.
Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. Sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. Rich in love and You're slow to anger. Your name is great and Your heart is kind. For all Your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. On that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. Still my soul will sing Your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, worship His holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship Your holy name. Worship Your holy name. Lord, I'll worship Your holy name. Jesus' name. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When He shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, false and stand before the throne. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. The storm, He is Lord, Lord of all.
Well, thank you, freshmen, for leading us in worship to start this morning, and thank you to Mrs. Van Beek as well for helping get the music together and ready for this morning. This morning, I've talked with a few sets of grandparents about coming up and just answering some questions and talking this morning. So if those grandparents would be willing to start making their way up to the stage, that would be great. So those that I've talked with a little bit already, if you want to start making your way up here. So I thought on this morning on Grandparents' Day, as we've been kind of working our way this year as a school, we've been walking through the book of Proverbs, and we've been talking about walking with the wise, and we've got a lot of people in here that have walked a lot of journeys in life and have a lot of collective wisdom between them, and so I thought it would be nice just to talk and hear a little bit from some of these grandparents just about lessons that they've learned, the faith journeys that they've been on, and just hear a little bit from them this morning. So we'll give you just a minute here, and then we'll get started. So maybe for grandparents, if you wouldn't mind just kind of introducing yourself, who you are, and then just kind of associating us with who your grandchild is here this morning.
I'm Dawn Stegerda, and our grandson that's a freshman is Archer Heisinger, and he has a brother, Jason, who's a senior.
And I go with her. I'm Greg Stegerda.
I'm Merle Swart, and I have Madeline as my granddaughter here. We also had all 6 of our children graduate from here also.
I'm Barbara Scott, and Ian Westerbeek is our grandson.
I don't know if you got that or not, but that was Barbara Scottman. I was going to say she belongs to me, but that would be going a little far. Anyway, our grandson Ian Westerbeek is over there somewhere. We're happy to be here.
All right, well, thank you. If you guys can recall back to when you were in high school, what was going on in the world while you were high school students? What were some of the big things that were going on socially? What were some of the things going on culturally? Maybe some things going on politically, just to help us get a context of like what was the world like around you guys when you were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old?
I graduated in 1982, and so a couple of things. The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. That was a big thing. So there were some wars going on. But the biggest thing was Prince Charles married Lady Diana, and that got more press than anything else.
Yeah, when I was in high school, Mount St. Helens blew up. I graduated in 80, by the way. And that was one of the things that was kind of a big deal for a while, was this mountain out in Washington that it just exploded. And 20-mile radius of damage, a lot of death, just unbelievable. It never occurred to me a thing like that could even happen. And so, yeah, that was interesting.
I graduated in 67, but I remember when I was a freshman, we came into chapel, and they gathered us, and that was when President Kennedy got assassinated. Well, that was quite something. But when I was through high school, it was the Vietnam era, and I know we had debates in class, and that was a lot of talk. But one other thing about high school, when I was 16 and a half years old, I got to drive a bus for Western, so that was pretty exciting.
I can probably almost repeat exactly what you said. I graduated in 1966. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So those are the same things that I would say that were big. It was the war. It was the assassination of the president. It was a time of unrest. There was a lot of marching and looking for rights for every American, and that included black and white and women and men. That was a very changing time even for education for women. College was not really something that a woman would consider unless there was just some really unusual reason. So that was also a big change.
Well, I grew up at the very same time as the last couple here. I graduated in 1966 from 500 miles away, a little town called Oostburg, Wisconsin. And I remember very well an additional geographic, historical, political story, and that was Cuban Missile Crisis. And Ian, you may be it may be difficult for you to visualize this, but during that time, the crisis was so deep and profound that it was as if tomorrow the whole world could blow up. And I remember walking out on the football field, the football practice or a game or whatever was called off because people lived in a kind of fear of what might happen. And I remember walking into the football field with a friend of mine and having one of those kind of deep conversations that maybe you're only beginning to have now. But I just remember us talking about what could happen. And that was a very significant moment in my high school education.
So it sounds like there's, a lot of important parts of history that you guys have lived through and impacted you as, high school students that shaped you for the rest of your lives and had influence on you and your thinking and your worldview and all of that. As you do think back to high school too, we hear some of those things, athletics and driving bus and stuff like that. What were some of your favorite memories that you had as high school students? What were some of those things that you, now that you've been out of high school for some time, what are the things that you really look back with fond memories of?
My fond memories aren't probably a real surprise, but I loved the music program. I went to Western Christian as well. And just playing piano, I got to know so many people because you play for a lot of groups and solos. And so I got thrown in with a lot of kids my age, but also upperclassmen and later on lowerclassmen. And it was just a great bonding time. So those are some of my best memories. And I met a really cute guy when I was a freshman. It turned out okay.
Hard to believe now that people thought I was cute once, wasn't it? I kind of, for me, high school was interesting because unlike now, back then you weren't in everything, right? And so I was kind of that odd kid that I was in music and I was in athletics. And I had kind of two circles of friends. I had my band and choir friends and I had my running friends. And we just had a great time both sets, but the pranks were completely different, right? Because the athletic pranks involved putting icy hot in different parts of your uniform that you didn't want them or something like that. And the music pranks involved like they'd put vinegar in the water that I soaked my bassoon reed in or something like that. But those were, to me, the fun things when I look back at high school. It's the things you did together in those groups of friends and then how much fun you could have.
Well, I was not in sports. I basically, we lived by Hayward, went to Western, so we rode the bus an hour before, an hour after, and we did chores on the farm, basically. But I was able to be in a boys' chorus, which was a lot of fun. And I also enjoyed homecomings and stuff for gatherings, and it was good in school.
I'll just mention that when I graduated from Orange City Christian School, our class was the last class that went to Western because Unity started the year after us. And I'll be honest, most of us in the 8th grade class were kind of happy that it was voted off for a year so that we could go to Western. Because after all, a lot of the fun is upperclassmen. And so going off to Western was wonderful. One of the things, Western was so huge at that time. It was over 600 students, and we just had kids from all over. They came from Rock Valley and Worthington, and it was one of the good things that opened my world. And even to this day, I run into friends from those years that I think I made in high school, and I think that's very important.
Yes. My high school years were dominated by athletics. But one thing that sort of comes to mind that isn't in a ball game or something was we used to have what was called a Letterman's Club. I don't know if those things still exist at all. But the Letterman's Club, it was very prestigious to get into the Letterman's Club. And you usually paid a price for it. There was pranks, and if you were one of the entering Letterman, you know, you had just look out for your head because it was just bad. And that night, for the real initiation, it just so happened that my dad had just bought a 63 Chev, an Impala with a 283 in it. And he let me use it for the first time in order to go to the Letterman's Club initiation. And I was so thrilled, but we had to take 2 eggs along. So I had to drive with 2 eggs in my hand. But I was all excited because it was going to be scary. Who knows what we had to do. And I was driving this car for the first time, and I put it in reverse, and I backed up, and I hit a car on the other side of the street and broke the eggs. That comes to mind.
So now, as you think too about, you know, where life has taken you post high school and up until now, how have you seen God's faithfulness to you in your lives? You know, individually, married, children, grandchildren. Like, how have you seen the faithfulness of God at work since you've been out of high school?
I think for me, you know, we grow up in Sioux County, and everybody says, oh, you had such a sheltered childhood, and then you go to Christian education. And that all seemed very normal and very nice. But as an adult, looking back on that, some of the tough times that we went through, Greg was in the military, and when the Gulf War was going on and we had toddlers in the house, that was a scary time. Our daughter Amber had a miscarriage on Mother's Day. That was a really hard time. We currently have a son with PTSD, and that's an ongoing thing. And right now, my mom, she has Parkinson's and is going through the dementia, and I'm kind of losing my mom just a little bit at a time. And those are just really tough times, but I have this whole lifetime to look back on and see God's faithfulness, and absorbed all those scriptures, and they just mean so much. I don't know how you can possibly do it if you don't have the Lord in your life.
We've said that so often to each other. Yeah, I mean, I lived a lot of things, experienced a lot of things that outside of Sioux County. I was in the Guard 25 years, did a number of deployments, a number of different operations, traveled a lot for business. And you get in things, it's situations that life up till now did not prepare you for, right? You just have no idea. And so many times in my life, I would encounter something that I had no idea how to handle, and I didn't know how to react to it. And I would just say, yeah, but Jesus is Lord of this too, right? Nothing here is out of his control. Whatever it is that I'm going to have to do in the next 3 minutes, he'll do it with me. And that was, for me, probably the thing that took me through a lot of stuff that, gives other people PTSD.
I must say the Lord has been very good. I started my own construction company in '72, married, had a good life, went well till the 80s come along. And by 1990, I was paying 16.5% interest. I lost everything financially. I had a wife and 5 kids and pickup and tools. And now we're Lord. I had an employee watch me constantly. He says, Murr, he says, I think I'd be in the bar drinking. I said, yeah, I know. But that's what I want to impress on students today, to pray constantly that God holds you. You don't hold him. He holds you. And you pray for that. And he hung on to me. And since then, I've been blessed with financial, but to know that God is with you in every step of the way. He's blessed me with children, grandchildren, and even now one great-grandchildren coming. So family is important, and that's what I say to people, to be surrounded with good people that can walk beside you, not ahead of you, not behind you, but beside you, that you can lean on them. Different people for different things. God has made everyone different, and that is really unique.
I feel like I don't have to say anything else because I would only repeat what the three of you said. It's amazing when you're in high school and in college looking ahead thinking, oh, there may be a few tough times, but unexpected things happen. And I would just say, you just have to lean into it. You have to learn. You have to accept help. And then also remember, you have to give help. There are people out there that need you, and maybe it looks like it would be hard or somebody that you wouldn't want to really help. But God will take you through, and He will help you and bring you on the other side. But sometimes, not to discourage you, just be sure, there are things out there that will be hard, but you will have your friends and you will have God watching over you.
I went to Dort, and when I graduated in 1970, I didn't want anything to do with Christian education or anything like that. And I ended up teaching at a small public high school in southwest Wisconsin. The last thing I would have wanted to do was be a sort of cheerleader for Jesus. I had too many cheerleaders for Jesus surrounding me earlier, and I didn't care to be that at all. So I didn't try to be a cheerleader for the devil. I just wasn't the sparkling, radiant, joyous Christian that everybody held up to me to be the most, the epitome of blessing. I wasn't. I remember, this will be terribly odd for most of you to hear, I remember when my students asked me if I'd play summer baseball with the league in town, a sort of semi-pro team. And I said yes, and they said, well, the first game is Sunday. And I thought, I don't know if I can play on Sunday. And then I thought, there isn't a student I know that would begin to understand my not playing on Sunday. They just wouldn't get it at all. So I played on Sunday. I'm sorry, I did. When I left Black Hawk High School, kids signed my annual. And one of them wrote, her name was Jamie Sargent. She was a twin. She wrote, "It was so wonderful to have a real Christian teacher." That blew me away. It blew me away because I didn't think I was ever a Christian teacher. But yet I was. And that taught me something about, I'm going to use a big word here, the elasticity of our Christianity. How wide it is and how big it is. And when we think it's small, we're kidding ourselves. Other than that, everything Zwart said, I'm for too.
So one final question as we start to wrap up here, as we've got a lot of wisdom that you've already shared, great things for our high school kids to take away from this morning. What would be like one final piece of advice you'd give for a high school student today?
My advice is actually stolen from a former pastor we had, but so much of high school is preparing for college or preparing for whatever job you're going to be entering into. And there's a lot of focus on that, but the focus really needs to be, first of all, where am I going to be honoring God with my life? So am I going to be a teacher or a nurse or a welder? That's not the number one question. The number one thing is, if I am a teacher, can I do that to the best of my abilities and for God's glory? Or if I'm a nurse, can I do that same thing? And wherever I am, that I am used for the Lord.
I'd say that you get what you give, right? And so if you give your best, you get the best results. If you give snark to somebody, you're going to get snark back. You give sarcasm, you get sarcasm back. You give kindness, you'll get kindness back. Jesus gives us all stuff we don't deserve, but most of the rest of the world responds to you and engages you the way that you'll engage them. So to a really great extent, you can control a lot of, not control, but you can influence a lot of what happens around you simply by what you put into the situation. And that's true of yourself too. And so you have to learn to say no to yourself, because we all have the good productive self that wants to achieve highly, right? And then we all have kind of the lazy cheater self that's looking for an easy way, and we like leisure and we like to have fun. And you have to learn to say no to yourself when you want to do those things that aren't going to help you give your best. But you get what you give. That's very true.
One thing in life I look at, and that is when things get tough and hard, sing the song, Jesus Loves Me. But when the things are really good, also sing that same song, Jesus Loves Me. This I know.
I think the one piece of advice that I would give, it's so easy to feel when you finish high school or finish college, like, okay, now I'm finished. I've learned what I need to learn. But I would really encourage you to think that you will learn every day, every year for the rest of your life. And make that your goal. Read books. Listen to other people. A lot of things are going to happen in this world that you have to learn that you don't know about. If you had told me in high school I'd be walking around with my own phone, I didn't even know what a computer was. I've tried to learn best I can. And like everybody else, I'm sure we ask our grandchildren to help us out. But those same things will happen to you as students. And I don't just mean inventions that you have to learn, but there's going to be new ideas. New things are going to happen in the world, in different countries. Keep learning, keep reading, keep listening, discussing. And it's really enjoyable because it's God's world, and He wants you to enjoy it.
Well, I don't really have much to add to what has already been said. I'm going to be very specific and probably silly, but so our Ian over there is doing a good job in high school, or at least it seems that way. Maybe his classmates would say something different. I don't know. But I occasionally, like all of the people up here, I'm sure, ask him, wow, Ian, how was the week in school? And then he's unfortunately has to answer his grandpa again. But when I've several times I've said to him, you know, what's your favorite subject? And I'm going to get myself in trouble now, Ian. But Ian has often said history. And I think that's great. And I think it's great for reasons what my wife was just talking about. I think one of the worst things that can happen to us in education is that we become task-oriented. And to fill out yourself for the years ahead, I think studying history and reading literature are two things which are absolutely terrific. And I hope that Ian continues to like his social studies or his history, and I hope you all do too.
Well, I just want to, again, thank each of you for being up here this morning just to share your life experience, your wisdom, and just great insight for our high school students and fellow grandparents as well. So if you just want to give them a round of applause, and you can take a seat as well. And while you guys are taking a seat, our freshmen will come back up here and they will close us out with one last song before we end.
Hello.
Please stand and sing with us.
Creation suddenly articulate with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry. From north to south and east to west, we hear Christ be magnified. Whole earth echoing His eminence, His word bursts from sea and sky. Rivers to the mountain tops, we hear Christ be magnified. Oh, Christ be magnified, let His praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified, the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Creature finds its inmost melody. Every human heart its native cry. One enraptured hymn of praise will sing Christ be magnified. Oh, Christ be magnified, let His praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified, the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Bow down to idols, I'll stand strong and worship you. If it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice 'cause you're there too. I won't be thorned by feelings, I'll hold fast to what is true. If the cross brings transformation, I'll be crucified with you. 'Cause death is just a doorway to resurrection life. Christ be magnified, the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. You're all dismissed. Have a great day.